Do you have the Texans as a fraud, or should we still laud them in their 6-3 record?
Kelsey, they are a fraud, and this is getting serious early for Houston. Their pass protection has been awful. 8 sacks last night, 31 on the season. That's the second most in the NFL. C.J. Stroud just doesn't look like the same player. If they can't fix this pass protection, they won't even win the division. And unfortunately, C.J. Stroud is going from a bright young star to a disappointment right before our eyes.
Wow, off a 6-3 start, calling them a fraud. All right, let's stay in the AFC. The Broncos have won 2 straight. They currently sit at 5-3. They face the Ravens on Sunday. Are they a fraud, or should we laud them?
Ryan, 3 for 3. They are a fraud, and Sean Payton knows this. They are turning the ball over way too many times. They're playing with a rookie quarterback here at Bo Nix, who looks like a rookie. He has some really great moments, but with 12 turnovers, that is simply not sustainable. So while they've been efficient on offense at points in the season, until they are more consistent protecting the ball, they are frauds.
Wow, 3 frauds today. All right, Mike, thanks for playing Fraud or Laud.
Celebrated Halloween, then they hopped in their car, headed to MetLife Stadium, hoping that they would have more to celebrate with the Jets. And this team gave them something to celebrate and then some, because they will not be cast away thanks to Wilson. Garrett Wilson, that is, giving them life in the fourth quarter, trailing 10-7, 3rd and 19. Aaron Rodgers airs it out, and oh my goodness. Garrett Wilson goes up, one-handed grab, the foot gets down, and then the shin gets down. Play-by-play, frame-by-frame here. Was he in? Of course they have to look at it because it was ruled incomplete. But when they look at it, Ryan.
Yeah.
Just by the hair on his what?
Shinny shin shin.
Shinny shin shin. He gets in. Here's what his head coach, Jeff Ulbrich, said about the big catch.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I was talking to the ref when they were reviewing it. I'm like, just for the sake of posterity, you have to say that's in, just so it goes down in history. I mean, it would rival the Odell catch, you know. It was amazing.
Well, we're glad you brought that up, because how does it compare to the Odell Beckham Jr. catch? Well, you see it right now, one of the greatest one-handed catches of all time. And then you have Garrett Wilson. You be the judge. Who did it better? Or
that might be better.
Should we call him Air Garrett? Michael Jordan, the 1987 dunk contest, showing off the hops. It reminded us of that, and it also reminded the NFL of it. They tweeted, Air Garrett. Can we put that on a football logo? Aaron Rodgers fired up.
Well, for the snap, I knew it was 3rd and extra long. I was looking at the weak side safety, and I was like, if he drops down at all, I'm just going to say, screw it. I'm going to throw it up to G. I felt like I put it in a decent spot. But, yeah, I didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, that's a good one there. You know? That's a good one, and it's got to count. I remember saying to all them, I'm like, y'all gassing me up too early. Like, this got to count, y'all. Let's chill. Once it counted, I was like, yeah, all right. Now y'all can tell me whatever.
Gas him up all we want now, because it did count. As NFL front office insider Mike Tannenbaum is back with us now. Mike, we got to start right there. Everybody's talking about it. Was it the catch of the year in your eyes?
Absolutely, Kelsey. And actually, I think it's better than OBJ's catch because, first of all, it's 3rd and 19. Aaron Rodgers should never have thrown the ball. He wasn't even open. And that catch, to me, well, it may have changed their season. It certainly changed the game. Unlike the Giants, the Jets actually won this game. So he actually looked like the Jumpman brand at the end of it. It was just absolutely unbelievable. And guys, thank God he has small shins, because he didn't have a lot of room to work with.
He's able to get it in. If only you could take that logo like Jumpman did and make as much money off of that and brand it the way that he did. But, man, could it be a turning point for them? 2 touchdowns of the night. Both of them were one-handed catches for Wilson. The other touchdown came from Davante Adams, who gets his first score as a Jet. So when you look at this offense, Mike, are they finally turning a corner now?
Yes, and here's why. Going into last night's game, they faced more man-to-man coverage than any other team. Now with a healthy Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson on the field together, nobody has 2 corners that can match up with these great receivers, Kelsey, which means I think the Jets will see more zone defense going forward, and that's Aaron Rodgers' sweet spot. He could pick it apart. So, again, great job getting these 2 receivers on the field, and now that they're healthy, I think they can really start hopefully making progress in the AFC. They're 3-6. but they will be hard to defend moving forward.
Some things to be excited about for the Jets, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Meanwhile, let's talk about C.J. Stroud and the Texans, because he was sacked a career-high 8 times last night as they lost their first game playing without wide receiver Stephon Diggs. How concerned are you, Mike, with what you saw from this Texans offense last night?
Very concerned. They've given up 31 sacks on the season. He doesn't look like the same player. He missed a huge throw late in the game to a wide-open John Mechie that he would have connected a year ago. The best hope for them moving forward, Kelsey, is run this offense through Joe Mixon, who at 28 years old still has a lot of gas left in the tank.
He tried to get them going early with the touchdown, but it was not enough as the Jets finally snapped that losing streak. Texans next up have the Lions in Week 10. Mike Tannenbaum with us here on SportsCenter. Ryan?
Yeah, let's talk more about those Texans with NFL insider Dan Graziano. Dan, I honestly think Houston had one of the most stacked wideout rooms in the league when the season started. Yes. Now they're down their top 2. What are you hearing about the Texans' interest in trading for a wide receiver just a couple days away from the trade deadline?
Ryan, I think they'll poke around on that market. It was a weird week for them. Obviously, Stephon Diggs went down on Sunday, and they had a quick turnaround for a Thursday night game. But now they have a little time to focus on this, and I think they'll assess. First of all, they want to see if Nico Collins is going to come back in Week 10, as they hope he will, from injured reserve. But even if he does, they will look around. You see Darius Slayton of the Giants, Kendrick Bourne of the Patriots, KJ Osborne is a name I think people are interested in. Jacoby Myers of the Raiders, if they decide to move on from him. These are the kinds of receivers that are kind of floating out there that we'll hear their names a lot between now and Tuesday. You're also going to hear DK Metcalf with the Seahawks. It's a weird one. I think a lot of this is generated by teams calling Seattle to see if they want to do something. Metcalf has 1 year left on his contract after this. They drafted Jackson Smith and Jigba in the first round last year. We don't know yet if this is something Seattle would consider, but it is something teams are at least willing to find out about as the trade deadline approaches. Obviously, that would be a high-impact guy. As would, going back to the Raiders for a second, edge rusher Max Crosby. 2 years left on his contract after this one. It's a foundational player for the Raiders that they believe in, but they are also under new management there, and they're going to need draft picks if they're going to address their long-term quarterback situation this offseason. So teams are going to be calling the Raiders to see about their appetite for possibly moving on from Max Crosby ahead of Tuesday's deadline. Those last two are pretty big names. I would probably say unlikely to move, but at least there is some chatter around them, even if it's from other interested teams.
So we'll be watching those big names. Meanwhile, you'll be covering Sunday's Commanders-Giants game at MetLife Stadium. I may be there trying to figure it out.
And David, the two hottest teams in the NFC right now, the Lions own 5 straight wins in the league's top offense. The Packers, they've rattled off 4 straight and are the league's top team in takeaways, but there are some question marks with injuries. So we'll bring back Mike Tannenbaum and say hello again to Dan Graziano. And Dan, let's talk about those injuries. Jordan Love, Jared Goff, both dealing with some injuries. What can you tell us about each player's status, starting with Jordan Love?
Yeah, Jordan Love has a groin injury, wasn't able to practice on Wednesday, but he was able to get back out on the practice field Thursday and get some limited work in. So that's encouraging. He says he believes he's going to be able to play. The Packers are obviously going to wait and see how he feels today, what he can do in practice, how he reacts to that, and then make a decision today or tomorrow on whether he can go. They're off in Week 10, so if they do rest him, he gets a couple weeks to rest and would only miss 1 game. Lions quarterback Jared Goff picked up an ankle injury in Sunday's game. Didn't practice Wednesday, which scared some Lions fans, but he was back out there yesterday and was listed as a full participant in practice. So no concerns as of now about Jared Goff in this weekend's game against the Packers.
I don't know if you could hear the roar of the crowd here in the studio. They were excited to hear that the quarterbacks
Or was it me trying to turn off the Garrett Wilson clip?
Or was it
was
Ryan?
One or the other.
Something's roaring here in the studios. No big deal. Meanwhile, Mike, let's talk about your biggest keys for the Lions as they try to win their 6th straight game.
Well, Kelsey, it starts with protecting that guy, Jared Goff. Jared Goff is having an unbelievable season, really at an MVP level. He's completing 74.1% of his passes. That is leading the league. And last week, they scored 52 points, and he only threw it 15 times. I don't even know how that math works. So if they can protect him, they are in great shape on the offensive side of the ball. As it relates to the other side of the ball, on defense, they have to pressure Green Bay, whoever that is. I'm assuming it's going to be Love. It could be Malik Willis. Thank God they rebuilt their secondary because no Aiden Hutchinson, no Marcus Davenport. look for Aaron Glenn to send a lot more blitzers than usual, and hopefully Carlton Davis, Terrion Arnold, they can hold up on the back end, because if they can't pressure, look for Green Bay to have their way on offense.
They're off to their best 7-game start to the season since 1956. We'll see if it continues. Guys, stay right there. Ryan?
Yeah, because we got a good one, guys. I got to talk to you about Monday night on ABC and ESPN. Patrick Mahomes and the unbeaten Chiefs hosting Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. It all gets going 8:15 Eastern. Okay, guys, come on back. Dan, I want to start with you, DeAndre Hopkins. Can we talk about him? There we go. Sure. He caught 2 passes, 29 yards in his Chiefs debut last week. I think people are expecting big things from him. What are you hearing about his role on Monday night?
It'll be expanded from last week, Ryan. Look, he just got there last week. They made the trade Tuesday, got him in the building Wednesday. He had a light practice Thursday and a more extensive one Friday. So they felt like there were things he could do based on what they saw in practice last week. They were very encouraged. But obviously, him being so new, they didn't have a full-sized role for him. I think you're going to see his role expand significantly on Monday night and as the season goes forward. This is not a player the Chiefs believe needs to be pigeonholed into a specific part of the offense. They think he can do any number of different things as a receiver. They're very excited about him. I think he's a major part of their offense moving forward.
He's been amazing in the past. So, Mike, what are the biggest keys for the Chiefs to improve to 8-0 on the season?
Ryan, starting on offense, this is remarkable. They have to get the ball down the field. Never thought we'd be saying that about Patrick Mahomes, but they're 32nd in the NFL in air yards per pass attempt, which is shocking. Now, obviously, hopefully, DeAndre Hopkins helps that, and obviously they've had other injuries at wide receiver. But for this team to get to where they want to go, even though they're undefeated, they have to get the ball down the field. I expect to see that more as the season goes on, because if not, they're going to be easier to stop than they've been in years past. On the other side of the ball, they've done a great job, as we're seeing here, stuffing the run. What does Baker Mayfield do? Great play action. That all starts with a good run game. If Kansas City can stuff the run as they've done all season long, Tampa Bay doesn't have the weapons on the outside, and that's a great matchup for this Chief defense.
Wow, it's an amazing thing about these Chiefs. 7-0, and still Patrick Mahomes can get back to normal, and they can be even more dominant.